What's going on, guys? My name is Anti-Problematic, and today we're going to do a Smite guide on the King of Camelot, Arthur. Now, before I get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like to join the Discord, I'll leave a link in the description. But without further ado, let's get on to the character. Now, there are a couple reasons why I want to do a guide on this character. Number one, he is my main. I know, I'm scum. And number two, even though I still believe that he's one of the best solo laners, he actually has a very low win rate according to the Smite official server, with a 47% win rate or somewhere along those lines. And honestly, I can kind of understand why, because most people, when they see this character picked, literally everybody else who has left to pick on the enemy team will pick characters that counter pick him. But he is still a very strong character. He can be very oppressive in the solo lane, and a very great game changer when the late game comes along. And because of his kit, he can outplay a lot of people, even with the counter picks. Now, first things first, we're going to be going over King Arthur's skills and abilities. Now, this character has been out for a while, so most people have a general idea of how each ability works, but I'm going to give a more in-depth description of each move. Now, King Arthur has two different stances, and I say stances lightly because all it really does is just change his abilities after doing a move. Now, his first ability in blue stance is called the overhead slash. It is a straight line move. Enemies who are closer to you will take extra damage. And the second move is called the hamstring. Now, this move is probably what makes King Arthur really annoying. It is a cone that if you stand on the side of the wave, it will hit multiple, and it has a 1.25 second cripple. This is his first ability on both sides, is his hardest hitting move. So I recommend, if you're playing a solo lane, that you get this ability first and you at least level up to 4 before you start putting points into your other moves. His second ability in his blue stance is called the Battle Stomp. It is a small AoE that slows opponents. The combo second ability is known as the Uppercut. Pretty standard ability. It will not hit any enemy minions, but it will knock up the first god hit by the ability. Now, King Arthur's third ability in blue stance is called the Twin Cleave. It is a dash that will do cleave damage, obviously, and then shred 7% of the enemy god's protections. Now, his third ability in the combo stance is called Blaze Storm. Why this ability is unique is because you can slow it down, you can move around and hopefully make the enemy god miss, and it still does a healthy amount of damage at 230 at max rank. Now, King Arthur's fourth and final ability, his ultimate in blue stance, is known as the Sundering Strike. It is a straightforward line ability that will stun the opponent for 1 second and cost 1 blue bar in his gauge on the bottom left corner. Now, this isn't the ultimate that you really want to worry about. Now, the ultimate in the yellow stance is known as Excalibur's Wrath. It is a very quick banishing ability that does 70 damage per hit. It would do 290 landing damage, and then it would do a 13% max HP damage on the final hit. Now, this ability is what makes King Arthur King Arthur. It is a very hard-hitting move. It's very hard to dodge, and it can set up team fights really well by banishing a tank or banishing a really annoying damage dealer. You can't beads in the middle of it. You have to know he's going to hit you with it, and it does absurd amounts of damage. This move single-handedly made the character broken, along with his very high evasiveness. Moving right along, we're going to move into King Arthur's passive. Every single time he strikes an enemy god or he takes damage, his gauge on the bottom left corner will increase. every single time that reaches a new threshold or reaches 1 stack, he will gain 1.5 damage mitigation at a max of 4 stacks. He also cannot build any attack speed, so this will be his base attack speed for the entire game, but it does have cleave damage, so it makes it really easy for him to clear. And since he cannot build any attack speed that he does build goes straight into his energy gain conversion. As you can see, the more you hit an enemy, the more that gauge is going up. And the higher the gauge is, the more damage mitigation he will get. Now for general builds, this character can go a lot of ways in the solo lane. But for now, I'm going to be describing his best items. Now, his #1 best item, you guessed it, is Glad Shield. It will give you cooldown, it gives you protections, and any single time you hit an enemy god, you will heal every single time you make a hit. Now, they did nerf this item just because of King Arthur, so now if you have multiple hitting abilities, multiple hitting abilities, you'll only get half the heal from the first hit. But still, King Arthur abuses his card really well considering how many abilities he has, so he basically just ignores that. Another great item for him are any items that can give him cooldown. The more you can hit your abilities, the more annoying you can be. So I'd recommend building a Genji's Guard, I'd recommend building a Predwin, I'd also recommend building a breastplate of Valor, and things along those lines. You also want to build items that make him pseudo-tanky. If you don't know what pseudo-tanky is basically items where they give him protections, but can also dish out a lot of damage. Cards along those lines would be Void Shield, Shifter's Shield, Runic Shield, Onsile, and even Blackthorn Hammer. Now, if you're not really trusting your team to dish out the damage as a solo laner with King Arthur, you want to be building Heartseeker. This gives a massive amount of power, a healthy amount of physical penetration, and does health damage. This will make his combo alt Excalibur's Wrath do an exceptional amount of damage. Now for general starts for King Arthur, usually it's exactly the same. You want to go into Warrior's Blessing and then start Glad Shield. Now, if you're going into the solo lane and you're not sure who you're fighting first, a good start would also be Warrior Shield into Chalice of Healing and 5 multi-potions. But with King Arthur, you want to get Glad Shield as soon as possible. So it doesn't really matter if you start with tier 1 Round Shield. Generally, the direction you want to go with this character, what I like to build, some situational cards would be Talisman of Energy. Now, Talisman of Energy has been slept on. This is actually a really strong card for King Arthur. Whenever you get a kill or assist on an enemy god, all allies within you get a stack of energy. Each stack provides 2% movement speed, 2% attack speed, and 10 MP5 per stack, and lasts for 10 seconds up to 6 times. Now, since you don't want to build too much attack speed on this character, but you want something to help you build your energy, this is an amazing card since it gives 300 health and 60 magical protections, and every single time you get a kill or you get an assist, you'll get more attack speed, which will go towards your energy gain. Another good card that you want to build on him is Mantle of Discord, or if you're looking for better energy gain with some damage, you want to put on the Crusher. And if you want to have more team fight presence, I would recommend building a Predwin, considering the fact that it'll make you more tanky and gives you a health shield after your alt cast. Also, if you don't want to go Glad Shield, which I would not recommend, but you want to get more damage, I would recommend putting on a Soul Eater. It does give you mana, it does give you the same amount of cooldowns, it also gives you lifesteal and 40 physical power, and then once it's fully stacked, you get an extra 20 power and an extra 5% lifesteal, and your abilities will heal you even more. I would not recommend building this item on King Arthur, however, in the solo lane, because you want to be as tanky as possible, so you can keep building your stacks and you can keep ulting people. Now for general game plan, Now for general gameplay on King Arthur, it's very simple. You always want to be in the opponent's face, You always want to be annoying them and harassing them with abilities. The good thing about King Arthur is that even while you're being aggressive towards the enemy god, you will always be hitting the wave. So you don't really need to worry too much about clear. What you want to be doing is harassing, and you want to be in very big team fights. The more people you're hitting, the more people that are hitting you, the faster your energy is being built up, and the more you can ult somebody with Excalibur's Wrath. You also want to be trying to bait out enemy abilities since you are a tank, and since this character has this ability right here, it's very mobile. It lets you dodge a lot of abilities and lets you kite people into being aggressive on you. Now, the biggest problem that I see with King Arthur is that when they're playing this character, they will use their overhead slash on the wave and then walk up in front of the wave and hit their ability, only hitting the first few minions. Now, let me show you why that's crazy. So if you walk to the side of the wave, you will hit the entire wave and basically insta-clear. Now I understand that while you're in solo lane, you don't want to be clearing too fast and pushing too hard because you want to level, you want to get those level advantages as fast as possible. But at the same time, you don't need, if you're not worried about that and you have a healthy lead and you're ready to start rotating, be sure to use these abilities on the wave. These two abilities by themselves do plenty of damage, and generally speaking, what I do is I level the first ability up to 4 and then start dumping points into the third ability, which will allow you to clear, it'll allow you to fight, and it'll allow you to get some presence and some energy going for this character. Overall, this character is still very strong in the solo lane. He, in my opinion, he's still top 2 even with his counter picks, because simply, he just beats a lot of people. Very few characters beat him, and the only characters who can really beat him are characters with hard stuns, hard AoE stuns, and a lot of survivability at the start of the match. Plus, this character does suffer if you do take his blue buff away from him early, since he is really mana hungry at the beginning. But this character is still a bully, he'll still get the job done, and overall he is just a very solid character. In another video I'll be going over how to play against him, some top gods to counterpick him, and what to do, how to safely nerf this character without completely destroying him. If you like the video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget there's a link to my Discord in the description. Without further ado, I'll see you guys next time.